Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Today, Ollie and I are going to be walking through 10 practical tips to help brands get the most out of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I am the other Ollie. There's two Ollies in the room today. I am the Paid Media Strategist, Oliver Dixon at Oban International, and I'll just pass over to the other Ollie to intro.
Morning, thanks for joining all, and I'm Oliver Smith, the Account Director over at Oban International. I'm looking forward to chatting you through some of the top tips for Black Friday and peak this year. So over to you, Ollie.
Cool, thank you. So these aren't hard rules or a single blueprint for success. So what works for one brand likely won't work for another. The aim here today is to plant the right seeds early so that you're thinking about the levers that really make a difference when peak hits. So let's get into it. So tip one, start early or get left behind. Now, Black Friday seems to start earlier every year. Shoppers now expect deals well before the actual day. And in fact, the demand in the weeks leading up to Black Friday was 48% higher in 2024 than it was in 2023. So we can see that growth year on year is increasing each year. And so the takeaway here is that brands must show up early to have the advantage, capturing demand before the competition floods in. So that's really key.
Then just quickly before we move on, does this differ much by market? I mean, do we see those same early peaks in the UK as we do in the US, for instance?
Yeah, so this is global. I took a look at the UK and the EMEA markets as well, and yeah, we can see very similar behaviour for these markets. Many EMEA markets, the UK share very similar characteristics. So yes, absolutely, a global trend that we seem to see.
Okay, great, thanks.
No worries. Even the so-called fake Friday, which is 1 week before Black Friday, weekends have become key shopping moments. So last year, we can see there that the previous Friday reached 80% of actual Black Friday demand, and this is up from 60% the year before. The key takeaway here is that we really should launch early, plan ahead, and make sure media and messaging are live before that first demand spikes. Tip two, be where holiday discovery starts. So holiday discovery starts well before the actual purchase window. People are already exploring, comparing and shortlisting brands. What we can see here is that we can see a YouGov data study which shows a clear link and correlation between early consideration and purchase intent. And simply put, brands are top of mind before peak season. Brands that are top of mind peak of season are 3 times more likely to be bought. And this is a simple phasing recommendation for budgets. So what we can see here is 2 very simple phases. We have a create phase, and it's a lot of brands do certainly oversee this. An easy way to look at it is that we can't convert unless we create. So using awareness-led formats like YouTube from October through to mid-November. And then as intent builds, we really need to shift focus to performance channels like search and shopping from mid-November to capture that early demand caught in the create stage. So really it's a balanced approach, helping your brand get discovered early and chosen later, while driving efficiency across the peak season, which is really important. Tip 3, let's pause now. Tip 3, think global, plan local. Black Friday might be global, but customer behavior certainly isn't. What works in one market can fail completely in another. And so the best performing brands should adapt messaging, offers, and creative to local context, from language and relevance to climate or timing. Here are a few examples. So in the US on the left here, a US consumer might ask, what on earth is a multi-buy? Don't you mean BOGO? So that's buy one, get one. On the right there, we have Japan. Studies have shown that in this market, the idea of quality over quantity is very pertinent to seasonal periods. So we don't need 10 cheap items. We just need one that's perfect. So thinking about your kind of core hero products and really packaging that up in the right way will be much higher impact when it comes to driving up your conversion rate for users in Japan. And obviously in Australia, if it's very hot, thinking about the climate, we might want to go easy on hand warmers promos during the November-December season. Tip number 4, use seasonality adjustments. Now, this is a Google Ads specific tactic. It's quite surprising that these aren't available on platforms like Meta. But yeah, just to say, this is a Google Ads specific tactic that a lot of advertisers do tend to forget about. Seasonality adjustments is a feature in Google Ads that gives smart bidding essentially a heads up that demand is about to spike. AI bidding usually learns from consistent patterns, and the peak periods like Black Friday can really throw these patterns off. So it helps us predict that chaos before it happens. And this helps AI anticipate and not overreact so that bids can stay stable and efficient. The other important point here is this is not to replace automation. It's how you guide automation to perform at its very best.
So how far in advance do you think brands should be looking to apply those seasonal adjustments?
Yeah, so Google Ads doesn't need too long to learn, certainly not on the day of the sale activity that you're running. I would say at least 2 days before to set the increase in conversion rate. So essentially you tell Google Ads that your conversion rate is very much likely to spike in approximately 2 days' time. So I think approximately 2 days before the sale starts will give Google enough time to adjust the bids, and then at the end of the period, you can simply switch off the seasonal adjustment so that it can begin to learn again back to usual conditions.
Right, okay, so it's important to turn it off again.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
Cool. Tip 5, activate the AI Power Pack. Now, the AI Power Pack, this is a Google Ads term that's frequently used. Success during peak isn't just about keywords or Google shopping on its own anymore. It's about feeding AI more signals and more surfaces to learn from. So Google calls this 3-channel approach the Power Pack. So we have what's called AI Max, and that's a paid search bolt-on that has come out of beta and is certainly being tested at scale in a lot of environments. And we have Performance Max on the middle section here. And we have Demand Gen as well, which is a more awareness to research-driven format. Now, Google calls this the Power Pack because when connecting these 3 channels together in the Power Pack, you can achieve a increase in conversion value. You can achieve a improvement in ROAS and 10% higher sales volume. Now, on top of that, with Demand Gen, you can add 14% incremental additional conversions on average. So it's really important that the incrementality of having these 3 channels is seen together. And so when connected, what really is the point is that these channels optimize holistically across discovery, consideration, and purchase, as opposed to working in isolation against one common goal. Cool.
And then obviously budgets are a consideration for a lot of brands coming into peak. What if you can't afford to do, say, all 3? Is there a priority that you suggest for these?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's asked a lot by clients of ours as well. So winning in AI environments doesn't necessarily mean having all 3 live at once. It's just the overall net impact of having all 3. Now, I would suggest having AI Max for search and Performance Max as a sort of a bare minimum, because that's what's going to get you the conversion value and ROAS. And I think that conversion value and ROAS are really important, whereas demand gen is most likely going to help you reach more users earlier in the user journey, perhaps improve kind of softer KPI signals, ultimately helping improve longer term conversion volume. But thinking about revenue and ROAS, I would certainly say if budget is an issue, then stick with the AI Max and Performance Max.
Great, thank you.
Tip number 6, don't be afraid to use broad match keyword targeting. We wouldn't have been saying this 3 or 4 years ago. It definitely has come a long way. And one of the key things to consider here is that 56% of users now search in natural language phrases instead of short tail keywords. This is a statistic from Global Web Index, GWI. And additional to this, Google have also reported a 45% year-on-year growth during Black Friday season for more natural language best plus product deals. So it's really important that we start to think outside of the realms of exact and phrase match, because these two traditional match types can miss valuable intent when not activated. And broad match can help us power smart bidding, and in combination with strong creative, it can help interpret natural language and reach, where your existing exact match and phrase match will likely fall short. And yeah, so here's an example of how users may have previously been searching before the AI blew up in the world. Luxury perfume deals is a very short tail keyword. The shift that we're seeing is more towards these longer tail natural language queries, such as, what are the best luxury perfume deals this week? And that's going to need a bit more broader keyword coverage to capture that intent. Cool. Tip number 7, fuel AI with first-party data. Now, consumers expect familiarity. According to Global Web Index, 63% of consumers say brands should recognize them and they expect to be remembered when shopping online, which is really interesting. Connecting your CRM platform or website data into campaigns can help AI understand who your customers are and what matters to them the most. And this is where first-party data can really come in and bring you closer to your consumers. For example, you can use your CRM's purchase data to upsell complementary products, like showing them related products to customers who recently bought a core item, and upselling through first-party data. So that is an essential tactic that can't be ignored. Tip number 8, use video and search together. Now, this is a pair which I'll call the power pair. This is an effective pairing for advertisers who want a multi-channel approach, but still prefer to have more control over creative and placements. Channels like PMax and Demand Gen, there's still somewhat lack of trust of certain placements triggering certain creative combinations, and having a YouTube strategy where you have full control over your video is a really effective way to essentially combat against those creative concerns that your marketing team may have. Within Google Ads, YouTube and Google work very well together, and there's a lot of data to suggest that when users use YouTube and Google, they are a lot more likely to make a recent purchase and report double the volume of purchases as well, so 1.6 times more likely, which is a really powerful statistic to consider. Tip number 9, so creative is the new targeting. Now, what we saw from a recent event in Meta is that according to Meta, creative quality is what drives most of the campaign performance outcomes. So 50% of the campaign, so I'll start again there. So according to Meta, creative quality drives 56% of campaign outcome variance. So this is even more important, arguably, than targeting or bidding. And AI can find the right people. And whilst this is true, at the end of the day, it's still creative that inspires action. And with automation doing more of the heavy lifting, creative is where advertisers still have real influence. So it's really worth pausing to think about how creative assets and formats can land the right message and if it's right for the intended audience. And just some early creative planning tips with this in mind. Try to lead with value, not just price. People need a reason to choose you beyond the discount. Blend your offer with what makes your brand different. That's what cuts through busy sale periods, and also match creative to intent and emotion. So, for example, heightening the sense of urgency for deal hunters, reassurance for loyal customers, whereas those seeking gifts may need more inspirational copy and visuals, and that's where AI and storytelling really meet. And finally, tip number 10, think beyond the click and be where it matters. So when we talk about performance, it's easy to focus just on the numbers. So clicks, conversions, return on ad spend, ROI, but not every valuable moment shows up in these metrics. It's these earlier interactions that truly matter. So someone discovering your brand for the first time, watching half a video, or adding to cart but not checking out yet. This data and these memorable moments are really important earlier in the consumer journey. And it's these moments that build familiarity and trust and what turns that short-term demand into long-term growth. And again, going back to the idea that before we can convert, we must create. So shoppers aren't following a straight path to conversion anymore. This is what's known as the 4 S's. We're moving away now from the linear funnel, from awareness through to conversion. Users aren't following a linear path anymore. They are streaming, scrolling, searching, and shopping all at once. And this is what's known as the 4 S's. And consumers say that these 4 behaviors are now more blended than ever over the peak period. That's 64% of customers that say that these touch points are becoming much more blended than ever before. And so the strongest strategies are the ones that can connect all of these touch points, and it's building consistency and trust before, during, and after the purchase that what truly matters. It's not about finding that one approach, that silver bullet. It's about understanding every step that your audience takes and not just the step that they convert on. When you join the dots between streaming, scrolling, searching, and shopping, that's where brands can really stand out. So advertisers must, do their own research in terms of, where users are currently streaming, which platforms are they're most receptive to, from social media across to price comparison sites. And by searching, we don't simply mean on Google. Searching can mean a wide variety of behaviors outside of the Google search engine results page. And of course, shopping now can be executed in all sorts of environments, well away from the Google environment. So it's really important that we think about all of these different behaviors and that they're much more blended now more than ever.
And then just looking at those 4 S's, Ollie, streaming,
Yeah.
scrolling, searching, shopping, which do you think generally brands sort of underinvest in the most?
I would say definitely streaming. Definitely streaming, because advertisers are very good with searching and shopping. Advertisers are very good at connecting, simple keyword lists, their, shopping feed data for products, and streaming is one of the behaviors that is largely underestimated. Now, advertising opportunities such as CTV, that's connected TV, is much more accessible than it used to be. These big, traditional TV buys, we're no longer in the era that's highly expensive, and CTV can now be bought programmatically, for example. And this is one of the platforms that I think can really drive that initial discovery that I think advertisers need to start embedding more into their strategies.
Thank you.
No worries. And today's shopper isn't making decisions in one click. 60% now take 6 or more actions before buying something new. So with Black Friday, it's a really effective tool to acquire new loyal customers, and thinking that there's just so much more to it now than 1 or 2 paths to conversion. And this can be anything from watching a video to comparing prices, reading reviews. It really is all a part of the same journey. And it's a reminder that being visible across multiple touch points isn't optional anymore. And that's really how trust and intent are built longer term. So to wrap up, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Every brand will find its own mix of timing, channel, and creative that works best. I hope the tips in this presentation can provide some creative juice when it comes to adopting an early Black Friday strategy. The real consistent wins, regardless of what works for one brand, that kind of work across the board, are the idea of starting early, letting your AI, creative, and data work together, and showing up in these earlier moments that connect discovery with conversion. Cool. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and we wish you the very best of luck as you head into the season. Demand is already starting to pick up, so yeah, we hope this provides some useful guidance for your future strategies. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for more insights and digital marketing news.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Ollie. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them, as I say, in the post below, and we're happy to get back to you. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.